Hey everyone, welcome back to the English Without Limit community. It's Julia here, and today we're going to explore a really interesting topic: why failure is the best teacher. But before we start, let me ask you a few questions. Have you ever failed at something that really mattered to you? Maybe an exam, a job interview, or even a relationship. How did it make you feel at that time? Sad, embarrassed, or maybe even hopeless? And later, did you ever realize that failure actually taught you something important? Think about it for a second. What if failure isn't the opposite of success, but a part of it? That's what we're going to talk about today. Failure is something most people try to avoid. No one likes to feel disappointed or defeated. We live in a world that celebrates success, the awards, the achievements, the victories, but we rarely talk about the failures that happened before those moments. Yet, almost every successful person you can think of has faced failure many times. When we fail, it forces us to stop, think, and learn. Imagine this. You study hard for an exam, but still don't get the grade you hoped for. At first, you feel frustrated, but after a while, you start to ask questions like, what went wrong? Or how can I do better next time? Those questions are the start of real growth. Failure helps us understand our weaknesses. It shows us what we need to improve and pushes us to become stronger. Think of Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb. He failed hundreds of times before he succeeded. When someone asked him about those failures, he famously said, "I didn't fail. I just found 10,000 ways that didn't work." That mindset is powerful. It teaches us to see failure not as an ending, but as a step forward. Every mistake can become a lesson if we choose to learn from it. The truth is, failure builds resilience. It helps us handle challenges better in the future because we've already been through tough moments. Let's take a simple example. Imagine you're learning English and you make grammar mistakes when speaking. Maybe you feel shy or afraid to talk again. But every mistake helps you notice what needs fixing. The more you practice, the more confident you become. Failure in language learning is just feedback. It tells you what to improve, nothing more. In fact, failure can make success feel more meaningful. Think about winning after losing many times. It feels so much better because you know how hard you worked for it. Success without failure is like a story without struggle. It's not real and it doesn't teach much. Sometimes failure even opens doors we never expected. Maybe you didn't get your dream job, but later found a better one that fit you more. Maybe you failed a class, but discovered a new subject you truly loved. Life has a strange way of using failure to guide us towards something better. But here's the thing. To learn from failure, we must have the right attitude. If we only focus on the pain, we miss the lesson. Instead, we should ask ourselves, what is the situation trying to teach me? What can I do differently next time? This kind of reflection turns a negative experience into a powerful teacher. Failure also teaches humility. When everything goes right, we might start to believe we can't make mistakes. But when we fail, we're reminded that we're human. It keeps us grounded and helps us connect with others who are also learning and struggling. Many successful people say that failure was the best thing that ever happened to them. They learned patience, self-awareness, and persistence. These are lessons that no classroom can fully teach. So, instead of fearing failure, we should start to embrace it. Each time we fail, we are one step closer to understanding how to succeed. Failure was not the end of the road. It's a sign that we're trying, learning, and moving forward. Now, think about your own life. What's one failure that taught you something valuable? Maybe it was learning to be patient, to prepare better, or to keep going no matter what. Reflect on it for a moment. That's your personal lesson from failure. And remember, every great story begins with struggle. Failure is not a sign that you're not good enough. It's a sign that you're growing. It's your teacher, your guide, and sometimes your greatest source of strength. When we start to see failure this way, we stop being afraid of it. We take more chances, try new things, and push ourselves beyond our comfort zones. That's how real learning happens, not just in school or work, but in life. So next time you fail, smile a little. It means you're learning something new. It means you're alive, curious, and brave enough to try. And that's something to be proud of. Would you agree that failure can actually be a good thing? What's something failure has taught you? Think about it, because your next failure might just be the key to your biggest success yet. Let's take another example from everyday life. Think about learning a new skill like cooking. When you try a new recipe for the first time, chances are it doesn't turn out perfectly. Maybe the pasta is overcooked or the sauce is too salty. At first, it feels like a small failure, right? But what do you do next? You try again. You adjust the ingredients, the timing, or the method. And with each attempt, you improve. That's exactly how failure works in life. Each small mistake is a teacher showing you a better way to do things. And it's not just about learning practical skills. Failure also teaches emotional strength. When you face rejection, disappointment, or criticism, it can feel painful. But these experiences build resilience. They teach us how to manage our feelings, stay calm under pressure, and bounce back from setbacks. Imagine life as a workout for your mind and emotions. Every failure is like lifting a weight that makes you stronger for the next challenge. Many people feel afraid of failing because society often celebrates winners and hides the struggles behind success. But the truth is, failure is everywhere. Every successful person has stories of falling down, making mistakes, and getting hurt emotionally. Even famous athletes lose matches. Actors get rejected from auditions, and entrepreneurs experience financial losses. The difference is how they react to those failures. Do they give up, or do they use it as a stepping stone? One powerful way to learn from failure is to embrace a growth mindset. This is the idea that our abilities and intelligence are not fixed. We can develop them through effort and learning. People with a growth mindset don't see failure as permanent. Instead, they see it as temporary feedback. They ask questions like, "What can I learn from this?" or "How can I improve next time?" These simple questions change the way we experience failure and open doors for progress. Let me share a small personal story. A few years ago, I applied for a job I really wanted. I prepared carefully, practiced my interview, and thought I was ready. But I didn't get the position. At first, I was very disappointed. I felt like I had failed completely. But after a few days, I thought carefully about what had happened. I realized I needed more experience in one specific area. So I worked on it, gained more skills, and the next time I succeeded in getting a similar position, even better than the first one. That failure taught me patience, self-awareness, and the importance of preparation. Another important lesson is that failure teaches humility. When everything goes perfectly, it's easy to think we can do anything without effort. But failure reminds us that we are human and that learning and improvement are lifelong processes. It keeps us humble, open-minded, and willing to accept help or advice from others. In fact, sometimes failure can bring people closer together because it reminds us that everyone struggles. Failure also encourages creativity. When we fail, we are often forced to think differently. A plan that didn't work pushes us to explore new ideas or approaches we hadn't considered before. For example, many great inventions and discoveries came from repeated failures. penicillin, the sticky notes we use every day, and even the microwave oven all were discovered after multiple experiments didn't go as planned. If the inventors had given up after the first failure, we might not have these amazing tools today. It's natural to feel frustrated or disappointed when we fail, but one trick is to separate our identity from failure. Just because something didn't work out doesn't mean we are failures. It simply means the attempt didn't succeed and there's room to grow. Saying, "I failed at this task" is very different than saying, "I am a failure." One statement focuses on action, the other on self-worth. Understanding this difference is key to learning from failure without losing confidence. We also learn patience through failure. Growth and success rarely happen instantly. When things don't go as planned, we are forced to slow down, reassess, and keep moving step by step. Patience is a critical skill in almost every area of life, from learning a language to building a career or even forming meaningful relationships. Failure helps us understand that progress takes time. Sometimes failure even leads to unexpected opportunities. A closed door might feel like a disappointment at first, but it can guide us towards something better. Perhaps you didn't get the promotion you wanted, but you found a new project that excited you even more. Or maybe you didn't get into your dream school. It's also important to remember that failure is temporary. No failure lasts forever unless we allow it to define us. Every mistake, every setback is just a moment in a much longer journey. Look at it like a chapter in a book. One chapter might be difficult or sad, but the story continues. Often, those chapters are the most important ones, shaping the plot and building character. Another way failure teaches us is through reflection. After a setback, taking time to think about what happened, why it happened, and what could be done differently next time is extremely valuable. Reflection allows us to turn experience into knowledge. Without reflection, failure might feel pointless. With reflection, it becomes a powerful teacher that guides our decisions and actions in the future.
Failure encourages courage in everyday life. Facing challenges, taking risks, and stepping out of our comfort zones all involve the possibility of failure. Each time we do this, we build bravery and confidence. Over time, we become more willing to take risks that could lead to personal growth and success. Failure can help us discover our true passions. Sometimes when a plan fails or a goal isn't achieved, we are forced to explore other interests. These unexpected paths can reveal what really matters to us and guide us toward work, hobbies, or projects that bring genuine satisfaction. Failure also teaches adaptability in a social sense. Misunderstandings, conflicts, or disagreements can feel like failures in relationships, but navigating these moments builds skills in communication, empathy, and compromise, which are essential for meaningful connections with others. Another lesson from failure is the ability to stay grounded. Success can sometimes inflate our ego and make us overconfident. Failure reminds us that we are human, that learning never stops, and that challenges are part of every journey. Staying grounded helps us maintain perspective and humility. Failure strengthens problem-solving skills as well. When a plan doesn't succeed, we are challenged to find new solutions. This repeated practice enhances our analytical thinking, creativity, and resourcefulness, which are valuable in every area of life. Failure teaches us to focus on long-term growth rather than immediate results. A setback today is not the end of progress. By learning from failure and persisting, we cultivate skills, knowledge, and resilience that pay off in the long run. This mindset is critical for achieving meaningful goals. Failure also builds emotional intelligence. Experiencing disappointment, rejection, or mistakes helps us understand our own emotions and the emotions of others. Emotional intelligence allows us to navigate social interactions, manage conflicts, and form stronger relationships. Another lesson is learning to embrace discomfort. Failure often brings uncomfortable feelings, frustration, embarrassment, or disappointment. By facing these emotions instead of avoiding them, we become more resilient and capable of handling difficult situations in the future. Failure encourages reflection on values and priorities. When things don't go as planned, we are often forced to think about what truly matters. This reflection can guide us toward more meaningful goals, better decisions, and a life aligned with our personal values. Failure also inspires creativity and innovation. When one method doesn't work, we are pushed to explore alternatives. This mindset of experimentation and adaptation leads to new ideas, solutions, and opportunities that we might not have discovered otherwise. Failure teaches us gratitude and appreciation. Achieving something after repeated setbacks allows us to value the effort, struggle, and learning involved. Gratitude for both the process and the results strengthens motivation and satisfaction. Another important lesson from failure is learning to accept imperfection. Life is rarely perfect, and expecting flawless outcomes can cause unnecessary stress. Failure teaches us that it's okay to make mistakes as long as we learn from them and keep moving forward. Failure also builds resilience in the face of uncertainty. Life is unpredictable and we can't control every outcome. Experiencing setbacks helps us adapt, stay calm, and navigate challenges with confidence. Resilience gained from failure is a lifelong skill. Failure teaches reflection, perseverance, patience, courage, humility, empathy, adaptability, creativity, emotional intelligence, and gratitude. These qualities form the foundation for personal growth, meaningful relationships, and professional success. Without failure, life would be predictable and shallow.
With failure, life gains depth, meaning, and purpose. Think about your own experiences. Which failures shaped you, taught you valuable lessons, or helped you grow stronger? How did they prepare you for future challenges? Reflecting on these questions allows us to transform every setback into an opportunity for learning, growth, and success. Failure is not something to avoid. It's a teacher, a guide, and a tool for growth. Every challenge, mistake, or disappointment shapes us, gives us wisdom, and prepares us for a better future. Embracing failure helps us become stronger, more capable, and more understanding of ourselves and others. Let's explore how failure helps us discover strengths we didn't know we had. Often, we only find out how capable we are when we face difficult situations. When something goes wrong, we are forced to push ourselves, try harder, and think creatively. In that process, we uncover talents, skills, and qualities that we might never have noticed during easy times. Failure shines a light on our hidden potential. Failure teaches us the importance of persistence in ways we often underestimate. Many people give up after the first sign of difficulty, but setbacks show us that lasting success often comes only after repeated attempts. For example, a writer who receives multiple rejections from publishers eventually learns to improve their writing, refine their ideas, and develop resilience. This persistence is not just about achieving a goal, it also strengthens character and determination. Another lesson from failure is learning to accept imperfections. We often expect ourselves and our work to be flawless, but mistakes are inevitable. By embracing imperfection, we allow ourselves to experiment, take risks, and grow. For instance, a student practicing a new language may make pronunciation mistakes, but those mistakes are stepping stones to fluency. Accepting imperfection reduces fear and encourages action. Failure also teaches us to manage expectations. When we aim too high or anticipate perfect outcomes, setbacks can feel overwhelming. Experiencing failure encourages realistic goal setting and prioritization. By adjusting expectations, we reduce disappointment while still challenging ourselves to grow and improve. Another benefit is the development of problem-solving skills under pressure. When a plan fails, we are forced to identify solutions quickly, consider alternatives, and make decisions with limited information. These experiences sharpen analytical thinking and increase confidence in our ability to handle difficult situations. Failure encourages flexibility in our approach to life. When a method doesn't work, we are prompted to try new strategies. For example, an athlete may fail at one training routine, but succeed with a different technique. Adapting to change, experimenting with alternatives, and remaining open-minded are skills cultivated through failure that serve us well in all areas of life. Another lesson is learning the importance of preparation. Failure often occurs when we are underprepared or overlook critical details. By analyzing setbacks, we learn how to plan more effectively, anticipate challenges, and execute tasks more efficiently. Preparation not only increases our chances of success, but also reduces stress and anxiety. Failure teaches the value of reflection. Each setback is an opportunity to examine actions, decisions, and outcomes. By reflecting on what went wrong and why, we can identify patterns, avoid repeating mistakes, and make more informed choices in the future. Reflection transforms failure from a negative experience into a powerful learning tool. Another benefit is building emotional resilience. Setbacks can trigger frustration, disappointment, or self-doubt, but learning to manage these emotions strengthens mental fortitude. Over time, we become better equipped to face adversity with calm, composure, and determination. Emotional resilience is crucial for personal growth and long-term success. Failure also encourages empathy. Experiencing setbacks helps us relate to others who are struggling. Understanding that everyone faces difficulties fosters compassion, patience, and improved communication skills, which enhance both personal and professional relationships. Another lesson is learning to embrace challenges rather than avoid them. Fear of failure can hold us back from trying new things or pursuing opportunities. By facing setbacks, we learn that challenges are opportunities to grow, develop skills, and gain valuable experiences. This mindset encourages bold action and continuous improvement. Failure teaches us the importance of adaptability. Life rarely follows a linear path, and unexpected obstacles are normal. Experiencing setbacks forces us to adjust strategies, explore alternatives, and make flexible Failure also teaches us the importance of adaptability. Life rarely follows a linear path, and unexpected obstacles are normal. Experiencing setbacks forces us to adjust strategies, explore alternatives, and maintain flexibility in our approach. Adaptability strengthens problem solving and opens doors to new opportunities. Another benefit is gaining perspective on success. Achievements feel more meaningful when we experience setbacks along the way. Failure reminds us that success is not immediate or guaranteed, and that effort, learning, and persistence are essential components of meaningful accomplishments. Failure encourages self-compassion. We often judge ourselves harshly after setbacks, but treating ourselves with kindness fosters resilience, motivation, and mental well-being. Self-compassion allows us to recover more quickly and approach future challenges with a positive mindset. Failure teaches us the value of perseverance in ways that small successes never can. When we encounter a setback, it challenges our commitment and determination. For instance, someone training for a marathon may face injuries, fatigue, or slow progress. Each difficulty tests their resolve and forces them to find new strategies to continue. Overcoming these obstacles builds resilience, patience, and a deeper appreciation for the final achievement. The experience of pushing through challenges shapes character far more than smooth sailing ever could.
Another lesson from failure is understanding the importance of mindset. A fixed mindset can make failure feel permanent and discouraging, while a growth mindset views setbacks as opportunities to learn and improve. For example, a student failing an exam might initially feel disappointed, but adopting a growth mindset allows them to analyze mistakes, practice more effectively, and perform better in the future. How we interpret failure determines whether it limits us or motivates us to grow. Failure also encourages adaptability. Life is unpredictable and plans often change unexpectedly. Experiencing setbacks teaches us to remain flexible and resourceful. Consider a business owner whose project fails due to unforeseen circumstances. They must adapt, explore alternative strategies, or pivot their approach entirely. This flexibility gained through failure strengthens problem-solving abilities and prepares us for future challenges. Another benefit is learning patience. Many setbacks require time to recover, and immediate results are rare. For instance, someone learning a new skill may repeatedly fail before making progress. Patience allows us to continue working steadily, maintain focus, and develop mastery over time. Failure teaches us that meaningful growth cannot be rushed, and that sustained effort is often more valuable than quick wins. Failure also builds self-awareness. Each setback encourages us to examine our actions, decisions, and habits. By reflecting on what went wrong and why, we gain insight into our strengths and weaknesses. For example, an artist who receives negative feedback might recognize areas for improvement and refine their craft. Self-awareness gained through failure guides better decisions and personal growth. Another lesson is learning to embrace risk. Fear of failure can prevent us from trying new things, but experiencing setbacks shows us that taking calculated risks is necessary for growth. For instance, an entrepreneur may face multiple failed ventures before finding a successful business model. These experiences teach the importance of courage, preparation, and resilience when pursuing opportunities. Failure encourages creativity. When one approach doesn't work, we are forced to consider alternatives. A chef experimenting with a new recipe may fail several times before creating a unique dish. These failures spark innovation, experimentation, and thinking outside the box, skills that are valuable in all areas of life. Another benefit is learning to value effort over results. We often focus too much on outcomes, but failure reminds us that the effort we put in matters more than immediate success. Each attempt, even if unsuccessful, builds skills, knowledge, and experience that contribute to long-term growth.
Failure also strengthens emotional resilience. Setbacks often trigger frustration, disappointment, or self-doubt. Learning to navigate these emotions builds mental toughness and the ability to respond calmly to future challenges. Emotional resilience allows us to stay motivated, maintain perspective, and recover more quickly from difficulties. Another lesson is learning to celebrate incremental progress. Failure helps us recognize that growth happens gradually and each small achievement is meaningful. For example, a student struggling with writing may feel discouraged by mistakes, but celebrating improvements in grammar or vocabulary keeps motivation high and reinforces a growth mindset. Failure teaches accountability. Accepting responsibility for mistakes allows us to reflect, correct errors, and improve. People who take ownership of their setbacks gain credibility and respect from others, enhancing personal and professional relationships. Accountability encourages honesty, integrity, and proactive problem solving.
Another benefit is learning humility. Experiencing setbacks reminds us that everyone faces challenges and no one is perfect. Humility encourages openness to learning, collaboration, and guidance from others. It fosters better relationships, teamwork, and continuous growth. Failure also teaches strategic thinking. When a plan fails, we are prompted to analyze what went wrong and consider alternative approaches. This process strengthens decision-making, prioritization, and the ability to anticipate potential obstacles in future endeavors. Strategic thinking gained through setbacks is a valuable skill in both personal and professional life. Another lesson is learning to manage disappointment constructively. Instead of dwelling on setbacks, we can view them as feedback and opportunities to improve. For example, an athlete who loses a match can analyze performance, adjust strategies, and come back stronger. Managing disappointment helps us stay focused and motivated. Failure also encourages resilience in relationships. Misunderstandings, mistakes, or conflicts may feel like failures in our social interactions, but navigating these challenges fosters empathy, communication, and problem-solving skills. Stronger relationships emerge when we learn from setbacks and work to improve connections with others. Another benefit is discovering hidden strengths. Many of our abilities only emerge when we face challenges. For instance, someone leading a team through a failed project may discover leadership, creativity, or conflict resolution skills they didn't know they had. Recognizing these strengths boosts confidence and prepares us for future challenges. Failure also teaches us to embrace discomfort. Mistakes, setbacks, and challenges are often uncomfortable, but learning to navigate this discomfort builds courage, patience, and resilience. By facing discomfort rather than avoiding it, we expand our capacity to handle difficult situations effectively. Another lesson is learning the value of reflection. Each setback provides an opportunity to examine actions, decisions, and outcomes. Thoughtful reflection transforms failure into a powerful tool for learning, guiding better choices and improved performance in the future. Failure also encourages continuous learning. Every mistake teaches new skills, insights, or knowledge. People who embrace failure remain curious, open-minded, and committed to self-improvement. Lifelong learning grows naturally from the lessons embedded in setbacks. Another benefit is learning to balance ambition with realism. Failure shows us the importance of setting challenging yet achievable goals. By reflecting on setbacks, we can approach objectives with careful planning, adaptability, and determination. In the end, failure is not something to fear. It is a guide, a teacher, and a catalyst for growth. Each setback, mistake, or disappointment shapes us, helping us develop resilience, self-awareness, creativity, and confidence.
The lessons we learn from failure prepare us for future challenges, strengthen our relationships, and guide us toward meaningful achievements. By embracing failure, we transform obstacles into stepping stones, cultivate patience and perseverance, and discover strengths we never knew we had. Every experience, whether a success or a setback, contributes to our journey of personal growth and lifelong learning. Remember, failure is not the end. It is a beginning. It invites us to reflect, adapt, and keep moving forward. The more we embrace it, the wiser, stronger, and more capable we become. So face each challenge with courage. See every mistake as a lesson, and let failure guide you toward your fullest potential.